on. I said I blame God. I absolutely blame God. I blame God for your injury. I blame God for how our careers ended up. But when you get an idea, you know where I'm going with this. No matter who in your circle says it's dumb, it doesn't make sense, because this cat created iTunes before iTunes was created. When you lose track of time and you forget to eat, you might be doing your thing. Because you're eating, because you're not even hungry, because you're doing the thing that literally that you're made to do. You are naturally gifted at this, taking things apart, tech. It flowed for you because you didn't have any official training for that. You tried it and stuff was making sense, right?
Exactly.
But you were also really good at something else that captivated your attention for quite some time.
I'm on my prime, I'm feeling like Steph. I get my shot and I promise it's wet. Waited too long, but I told him I'm next. I need my bag, just run me the check. Cable was mine, I ain't taking less. I told them all I'm as real as it gets. This shit be a shit, dog, I'm cutting the net. I thought I told him I can't.
This is just me and you talking.
It is.
Yeah.
It's real chill.
So if you do have sweat beating off your head, you need to get a towel.
I'm not getting no towel.
You better do something. You need a rag or something.
Hey man, let me chill, bro. Alright. We rolling. We good?
You got nobody said action?
Huh? No need to. Welcome to I Stay Mad on Purpose podcast. It's your host, Mr. I Stay Mad, aka LeVar Greene. And I know I say that backwards all the time, but I do stay mad. So listen, I got a guest on here today, my little big brother. You know, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
First of all, I don't even appreciate it.
Make sure you're talking to the mic so they can hear you, dog.
But if I look at, I don't know if I need to pay attention to the audience or you. Which one?
I don't know what to do with my hands right now. Listen,
yeah, we're doing it like
introduce
this.
yourself. Talk to the camera.
All right. So my name is David Greene. I am the big brother to the little big brother, LeVar Greene, over there. And we're just gonna have a little talk today. Hopefully, you guys learn a little bit about me and what I'm doing.
Okay, so yeah, that's his intro. So me and D Greene, we've known each other all our life, pretty much, you know.
Pretty much,
so,
pretty much.
But we on here. You know, our purpose of our podcast is to make sure we're inspiring people and encouraging you to do things and to see things the way God put you on this planet. And a lot of this is tapping to your purpose, tapping to the thing that God put inside of you. And it takes some work because it seems like He purposely hit it deep, and scriptures say that. So today we're gonna talk a little bit more business, which still makes sense because I personally feel like we should be walking billboards. Like when you figure out your thing, even though if your business is not like what you feel like you're made to do, but you know how to do that good, you still can represent the king, you know, in that manner. What you think about that real quick?
I think you lost me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I 100% agree. And, you know, I was having a conversation with someone and I was pointing out to them, I recognize what my thing is. You know, running a company, sometimes people think you're supposed to always be the person in charge, the person doing this. Well, actually, for me, my gift is in the area that it's in. It's not usually in the area that's running the company. It's in the area that's empowering the company. And so I walk within that purpose and that gift. And normally when I do that, everybody around me can thrive.
So let's focus on that real quick, right? Y'all, we're gonna be free with this. We got some questions, but we're gonna be free with this. You said you feel like your purpose is to empower that company. So like speak on that more to help people understand what that means.
Yeah, so what it means is really honing in on, you know, what are the gifts that God gave you. The gifts that He gave you, if you were to use them appropriately, whatever you touch, you know, they say like the Midas touch, whatever you touch turn to gold. But yeah, whatever you touch is going to turn to gold. Whatever you're working on is going to turn to gold. You know, we always use football analogies, right? You don't put your center at wide receiver when you need a big play, when you need that 80-yard bomb
or any play,
or any
you ain't gonna put big boy in any
don't
play.
do that.
Yeah.
His gift, his purpose is in blocking that nose tackle. So that's what you let him do. He's gonna do that well, and that's going to empower the team. I take the same approach in the business aspect. You know, my gifts are around technology, leveraging technology in such a way that it removes the cost center aspect and turns into a revenue generation part of the business.
I like that. So tech, you're a tech guy, and the tech field is actually a field where it has been booming for quite some time, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon.
No.
How did you get into that field? Are we going too far back? You know what I mean?
You know, my memory still works.
Okay, I'm just checking.
They're trying to jab it.
No,
You know,
you know,
my
and
little
listen,
age.
we got Jesus juice. Welch's,
Yes.
if you want to sponsor us, this is the grape juice, and he got the pineapple, mango, or something like that. So just in case y'all think we over here drinking that liquor, we
Yeah.
not. It's Jesus juice, and we got the pineapple. So Welch's, holler at us. No, you're not one of our sponsors, but you
Yeah.
could be. Go ahead, D.
I know a good juice sponsor too. I gotta talk to you after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously. So, now I forgot the whole question.
So, and then it's not dating your memory, seeing if you can't remember,
I
but
remember the question.
how did you get into tech?
Yeah. So, how did I get into technology? Well, I think it definitely goes back to my childhood. I always had a passion for just unpacking things. And I think you remember I took apart every single remote control car I had. Every
Tearing
toy I
toys
ever
up.
had, I took them apart because I needed to understand how they actually worked.
Mom and Daddy Green was pissed.
Yeah, they were, but it's okay. They got over it, right?
Can I say pissed on the
they actually
podcast?
did. I think you can.
Pissed. Okay.
I hope you can bleep it.
I'm not bleeping it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, don't.
It's my show. Go ahead.
But you know the FCC though, you know.
Okay, you too.
All right,
Go
okay.
ahead, rock with it.
All right. So, yeah, it goes back to that. I took apart everything I could think of, and then I put them back together. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. Thankfully, we found Legos. When I found Legos, they were designed to be taken apart and put back together, and it actually worked that way. And so that alone was a Kickstarter for me, and having that desire to know more about what made things tick.
Right.
And then I found a computer at school. I would say I found it, but we had library time, and he had the old Commodore 64s. I know I'm dating myself, but it is what it is.
No one knows what that is.
They don't
by
know
the
what
way.
it is.
And if
Commodore
you know what that is,
64.
drop it in the comments. If you know what a Commodore what?
Commodore 64.
Right. Then drop that in the comment. You might get a free T-shirt. I don't think nobody gonna know what that is. Go ahead.
We have some techies listening to this. So
Okay.
They're probably gonna know.
All right.
All right. So, and the very first computer I got was a Tandy 1000. Now these were pretty,
I almost
state of the
remember
art
that name.
computers at the time. But my computer, what'd you say?
I said I almost remember that name.
Yeah,
Tandy
the Tandy 1000. Yeah, it was a nice big brick box. I mean, just think about a microwave oven sitting on your desk. Like it was
with
pretty
a
big.
keyboard.
And I only had floppy disks. I had MS-DOS 5.1. It was 2 floppy disks to start the computer. Did not have an internal hard drive. I couldn't get that level up. But when I got that thing, I mean, it was just like Christmas every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I learned something new about it, learned how to do something different, it was literally Christmas every day.
So now this is gonna be sarcastic,
Okay.
but I would assume that you tracked how much time you spent on there.
I mean, I spent way too much time on it.
And this is why I said that.
Mhm.
I bet time just escaped you.
I never knew what time it was. The only time I had sense of time is when my mother came in the room and said that I had to spend, what was it, for every 2 hours I spent outside, I get an hour on the computer, or every 4 hours I spent outside, I get an hour on the computer. So I that's when I started tracking time, make sure I got my hour in on the computer.
So I bring it up to kind of like tie it into like what our show is all about, right? Mm-hmm. And it comes to just really identifying your purpose and not just stopping there, but like just being tossed into it, executing. Because when you can find a thing that you lose track of time, I feel like that's a key. I feel like it's very important because you're not thinking about anything else. It brings me to take it scripturally a little bit. Mm-hmm. When Jesus was ministering to the woman at the well and the disciples were going getting whatever they was getting, they came back and like, hey, Jesus, did you eat? And they're like, I got food y'all know about. Like when you lose track of time and you forget to eat, you might be doing your thing. Because you're eating, because you're not even hungry, because you're doing the thing that literally that you're made to do. The thing that, now I get emotional real quick when I talk about God, so forgive me in advance. But when you do the thing that you're made to do, you lose track of time. And you're feeding yourself because it's almost like that's what you need to do to live. Yeah. Like if you're in a position where you have to go somewhere and a part of you has to almost die to be there, I think you need to leave. That's my personal opinion. Wow. Because in order to live down here for real, nobody can get out of this life alive. Nobody. You got to die to leave here, so you might as well die empty. I get that from Miles Monroe, Dr. Miles Monroe, late great Miles Monroe. But what you were doing at a young age, whether you truly fully understood it or not, you were exploring, you were trying, and I hear everybody when it comes to the success in business and as they think about their success, like part of business success is failures along the way.
Oh, it's definitely failure
right?
along the way.
So expound on that. Because I felt like that hit you a little bit. 'Cause, like, most definitely.
So I won't just unpack the world tonight because there's
Right.
definitely failure. But I mean, it's just like going back to simply. I remember the very first program I ever created.
Mm-hmm.
It was a clock program for my little sister to teach her how to tell time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It took me days,
Mm-hmm.
probably weeks, to figure that thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was iteration after iteration, failure after failure. And it wasn't just that one time. Every single time, start moving forward with something, there are setbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this: what I've learned along the way is I've been living my life this year off of Romans 8:28.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, I truly, truly believe that all things work for the good of those who
Mm-hmm.
love the Lord and are called according to His purpose.
Yeah.
Because every time I've had those setbacks, and now on the other side of that, I see how each one of those setbacks primed me, or I would say groomed me for whatever I needed to be in. I mean, I can remember the first time I thought I was about to get a particular job, and I did not get that job, and I got the next job. Well, the next job was actually the one that groomed me for what I was going to experience 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been the same thing on this journey as a tech entrepreneur.
Okay. And I love that because I wanted to get us to part of the reason we on here. We gonna clown. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be all serious.
No, not at
He
all.
has to put his business voice on, and that's fine. Listen, I got a Thanos voice that when I read the Bible and read my books,
Yeah,
I put my Thanos voice on. I'm not gonna do it now because y'all actually want me to do it. I'm not gonna do it.
I think you should.
I still gotta work on it. Some. I
Okay.
could do
All
one
right.
little scene like when
Yeah.
Star Lord was supposed to shoot Gamora because she knew
Let's see how
the
bad you
location,
are. Let's see
and
how
he
bad
was
you are.
like, "She ass, hasn't she?" Like she. I hit with it, but listen, I love that voice. But anyways, so we started talking about you getting into tech and your business and stuff, right? Because I do want to talk about your
Right.
businesses.
It's
But
weird you're doing a Thanos voice. Techie world, it's all about Star Wars. You have to be like Darth Vader, but, hey,
I'm not
you
from
got
tech
your
world. I'm from
Thanos.
somewhere else, all right? So I want to talk about as we're getting into the intro.
Mm-hmm.
So you are naturally gifted at this, taking things apart, tech. It flowed for you because you didn't have any official training to that.
No,
You
it's
tried
11
it
years
and
old.
stuff was making sense, right?
Exactly.
But you were also really good at something else that captivated your attention for quite some time. I bring that up because D. Greene was an excellent ball player. We all knew he was really smart with tech, though, and I say that when we was in college. And had he not been, in a sense, distracted with football, he helped my career out a lot. I bring it up because when he couldn't play anymore, I feel like that's when everything really shifted for you when it came to how you started even seeing what your gift was because you no longer had this other thing to pay attention to as much. Am I
Yeah.
accurate in that?
No, you're very accurate. I mean, when I was playing football, I'm almost like everyone else. Football was my first love. You hate to say it like that, but the order that God was still at the top. I'll give that, but football was like right there.
Yeah.
Seriously, and then it was for family.
Yeah.
That's the wrong order,
Yeah.
but that's what it was.
Yeah, that's where I was.
And
Right.
when football was taken away, or no, I shouldn't even say taken away, should I? I should say when football was time to be done.
It was
It
removed.
was time to be done. It was removed.
And that's how God does it. I blame God for everything. We'll talk about that later. But go
I
ahead.
did have to look at what I used to call Plan B at the time, or I used to say I had a Plan 1 and a Plan A. That's how I used to say it because they were both equally important. So the technical side of things, the schooling side was my Plan A. Football was a Plan 1. So I went to the Plan A, and I did that to the fullest. I remember many times, sitting in my little coding space, and everybody wanted me to come hang out, and my answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta
remember
do
that.
this. I need to finish this.
Remember that.
But I'll tell you the difference was when I still had football, I felt a different sense of freedom with the Plan A, with the technical side of things. And when football was taken, I felt more of a responsibility. And I had to get back to seeing the freedom in it in order to really thrive.
Well, you're not going to just say that and not expound on it, so go ahead.
Right. So I'm one to try to take my own destiny and put it in my own hands, as opposed to recognizing. That's our prayer call. I'm sorry, we do a family prayer call every night. We're gonna unfortunately miss it this time, but but so going back to what I'm saying is, I saw it as a requirement because I felt like I had to make the difference. I had to make up whatever ground was lost from not having football anymore. And this is part of the journey that I've been on, is I forgot about God being the one that makes himself responsible for making sure you're good.
Right. So I want to bring it up because I feel like that's really important, that some people are blessed with so many gifts, skills, and abilities, so many things that God put in them, and it may be harder for them to decide on what they're supposed to be doing or come to see what the core is. Just to bring my wife into it, for example, extremely creative. Jack of all trades when it comes to creativity. She could do interior design, decor, event planning, build furniture from scratch, literally. You give her a theme or idea about something that's creative or a business that they need some type of decoration, she runs with it, right? But it's a challenge for her to see, like, what is it I'm supposed to do, or what leads, you know what I mean? What takes lead? So when I hear what you say about football, not in a terrible sense, at the time it felt bad,
right?
But as we mature and grow, and we look back on some of these things, when there's a removal of certain things, it's because God is ready for us to move on. I said, I blame God. I absolutely blame God. I blame God for your injury. I blame God for how our careers ended. I blame God for even our success, though. So it's not such a negative thing, because nothing can happen on planet Earth unless God allows it. So guess what? I blame God for everything. Right. The falls, the ups, the elevation, the promotions, the demotions. Why? Because it's all necessary at some point. So as you went through that, and I'm going to tell y'all this, I'm going to throw this in there too, because as football stopped, D. Greene was in the lab. A couple of us Florida guys, we stayed at the house. We called it the Florida house. Everybody from Youngstown State, where we went to college at. He went to University of Miami first and came up there with your boy. And everybody said I tricked them. We're not going to get into that story.
He did.
Because Larry had been watching us, and everybody, oh, boy, tricked. I didn't trick y'all. Y'all signed on the dotted line for your own self.
No, he tricked everybody.
But the Florida house, right? Now, this is important for you. So listen, and if you have a comment, just keep commenting, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But when you get an idea, you know where I'm going with this. No matter who in your circle says it's dumb, it doesn't make sense, because this cat created iTunes before iTunes was created. And we talked about him so bad, because this is when CDs were still out.
Yep.
Ain't nobody going to do away with CDs, this and that, and da-da-da-da. And I'm telling y'all, it's going to move.
Were just starting to really, boom.
They were still booming.
At the time, yeah.
And this is not at the tail end of CDs. This is when it was just booming, where everybody had books and books of CDs. And he was like, these things going to be on the computer downloaded one day. We were like, no, it's not. I bring it up because I feel like it's part of your journey. But I also feel like it's a very important point for everybody listening, is to, if you get an idea, you better go with that thing. And sometimes sharing your idea, and I'm calling myself this, so with small-minded people or the wrong group, is not a good look. Because we weren't ready to see that. And sometimes when you get this idea or this thing and you discover that thing inside of you, sometimes it's not meant to be shared with anybody else, because God gave it to you to grasp it, cultivate it, grow it, and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember y'all hurt my feelings, man.
A little bit, right?
I was trying to play the music. I could play the party music from a computer, and that's stupid, man. Who's gonna play?
We did. We said that.
Yeah, they got
but it made sense that it's switching CDs. It was just whatever.
I just, long story short, and this was actually a senior project of mine. I made a CD player on the computer, so it was actually a picture of the CD player that I had. Click the button, it would open up the slot and act like it's putting a CD in, but it was, obviously digital files, and play the music, Now, here's what a failure was. Back then, hard drives were only 6 megabytes. Yeah, that's
crazy.
That's crazy small. I mean,
it's not even a pixelated picture right now.
Yeah, there's almost nothing, a single file you can say that's less than 6 megabytes right now. But that was the hard drive, and I didn't know how to do the compression at the time. I just knew how to do it with WAV files, and WAV files are huge. So about 4 or 5 songs, and my hard drive was done.
Right.
At the time.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're gonna kind of keep pushing, because y'all, we building to try to talk about this business. He has a very brilliant business idea now, that is close.
Yeah.
Would you say? So I've been working for a district school system now. Finished up about a 20-year career in law enforcement. Did a little pivot, try to spend more time with the family. And I'm sharing a little bit of my story because the exposure to working for a school district, in the nature of my business, people call me to solve a problem. I show up, I look around, I analyze, and I solve the problem. Well, there's a whole lot of problems I see in some of these districts. A lot of it is asset management, payments, collecting payments, tracking information, and really in a very efficient way, right? There's some shortcomings, to say the least, right? So
Yeah.
people think payments are simple, but when you think about some of these school districts, and when you think about what I've learned is the school buildings, you got a principal, administrator, it's like a little CEO of a company. They're managing hundreds of employees, thousands of students, bookkeeping, everything else, like a CEO of a company. So
Right.
imagine a school district with 120 of those small little companies that all need to be tracking payments and stuff.
Right.
Now, I'm bleeding into kind of what your company is.
Mhm.
So give us an intro of your company and why it matters when it comes to when we think about what a school system could use your company to benefit from.
Sure. So you're putting me on the spot. I hope I do a great job.
Let's
So
see.
my company is SchoolBanks, and SchoolBanks really solves that problem where operations and finance meet. To your point, you said payments aren't really challenging. There's a lot of payment systems out there, thousands of them probably, but not all of them have the operational correctness with them and have the financial insight on top of that. So SchoolBanks was really built initially to solve a problem that a friend was having inside of a school system. I too used to work for a school system. Can't say the name, won't say the name, but very large school system in the southeast United States. And they at the time had some very archaic systems. They had a lot of paper systems, and to your point, every school was managed by its own CEO. So they all kind of did their own thing. And this happens in the corporate world as well. Another corporation I used to work for, very large as well, 60 plus subsidiaries, a bunch of CEOs, a bunch of CIOs, and a bunch of CISOs. And whenever it was time to do something at the shared service level, it was an act of God, an act of Congress sometimes to get movement and traction on those things. And so SchoolBanks is actually built on a lot of that ideology. How do you bring all of that together under one umbrella the way that it should be, truly understanding the operational needs of the school and the school district while still providing the financial insight and oversight that is necessary.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Hey, this is just a quick break in the interview we got going on today with our boy from School Banks. My brother, I call him my boy, but very, very educated man. Listen, this is brought to you by Activate You, where we encourage you to get active, stay active, live active, man. Our mission is I promise to make a decision to make a difference in everybody's life and stay mad while I do it, motivated, determined. Check out our website, istaymad.com. Some free material on there. We got some merchandise for you, some everyday wear that you can just remind you to get out there and do what you need to do, man. So we love you. Thank you for checking in and chiming in. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And just keep posting our stuff. If you know it helped you, share it with somebody else to help them too. All right, so I got a quick question for you.
Right.
At what point did you realize the problem was bigger than what maybe people recognize it? Because we talked about these schools. You got the district, then you got all these schools at different levels. And it's like you have all these small companies trying to do things like maybe manually. This is my guess because I'm not in the tech world, not in the school world. But when did you realize it was a bigger problem and there was a better way?
So we have a lot of schools within large school districts that use our solution. These school districts have district level agreements or contracts with other payment solution providers. And so this is probably a detriment, but I asked this question to the people that use our solution. Why are you using it? Your district has a solution. You hear all of the pain points when you ask that question. And what that told me was that districts don't have software problems. It's not about software. They have challenges with the operational oversight, with the auditability, the traceability of the financial life cycle. So a payment is not just a payment. A payment is an item that needs to be traced all the way through. You need to know where this penny came from, why this penny came to exist, who edited this penny, who made a change, why did they make a change to this penny, and now that it's in my bank account, where did it come from? I need to be able to flow that all the way backwards and forward. Payment processing systems don't do that.
Right. So, I don't like to assume. What do school banks do about that? What problem does school banks solve based on what you just said?
Well, the thing is, you know, a lot of the conversations that we have had with school system leaders helped us to make a solution that solved those problems in the right way. Again, we didn't make a software to solve the problem. We understood the operational oversight that was necessary, and we placed technology in the right places to help mitigate a lot of those issues.
Okay. So, and here again, I'm this is foreign language to me, but I'm just processing just based on my little investigative skills. So it seems like you identified a problem. There's probably too much manual, manual labor when it comes to this, or somebody manually entering things on at all these different school levels when the district really has to keep track of everything as a whole. My assumption is the district has to make sure it accounts for all the dollars, all the money spent, right? Even though there's a little leeway of each leader of how they manage their stuff at each school, but ultimately the district has to really account for that, right? You think about tax dollars, stakeholders, and all this stuff, right? So talk to us about some of the struggles behind the scenes outside of what you just shared when it comes to like recovering fees for maybe devices lost, damage, etc., all that stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot of disconnects with the different solutions that school districts end up using, right? So they have to use different solutions for different purposes. There's your student information system, which holds all of their primary student information, their names, their birthdays, their grades, different things like that. Those systems don't typically do the other stuff very well. You have your back office, you know, HRIS systems. You have, and that manages your people, your staff, payment, you know, salaries and different things like that. And then, you know, you get on the ground level, operational level. You do have your ticketing systems because schools are highly technical these days. I mean, there is probably the same amount of technology in a classroom that was in Apollo 13. You know, these days. Don't quote me on that. I'm just, you know, having fun here.
Right.
But there's so much technology, and that the technology has problems. It's not like back in the day we had a library book and, you know, hey, somebody took a page out of the book, just replace the book. No, it's this smart board is not working right now when I need it to work right now during lesson. So they have ticketing systems, right? And then every student, due to the pandemic, every student has a device now. Every student. Some students have multiple devices. Sometimes these students break these devices. Sometimes these students, quote unquote, lose these devices. Sometimes things happen, and that activity has to be tracked. Those things do require manual efforts sometimes. And, you know, manual effort is not a problem in itself. There's a lot of manual work that has to happen, but there's always opportunity when you see manual work to make those things more efficient. So we do our best to tap in to all of those elements. Again, it's about the life cycle management of the different items that we're tracking, whether it's a payment, whether it's asset, whether it's a general fee. It's about ensuring that there's a source of the truth for every step of that object's life cycle.
Right. So you mentioned the, you know, manual process, and it's not so bad. And you also mentioned that you talk to different operations teams and school finance. Do you feel like districts want automation?
I believe districts do want automation. What they don't want to do is lose the oversight.
Okay.
Right. So you still want to have, you want the automation. The automation. You want the efficiency, but you still need to have that human layer for approval.
Right.
You know, moving forward, and it's not to create a bottleneck, but you have the accountability, the level of accountability that these school districts have these days is. It's probably at its highest. You have to imagine. I don't know if you ever sat in on a school board meeting, but when they talk about lost funds and, you know, devices, especially in the last few years, the number of devices that have been lost and unrecovered, that's taxpayer dollars. It's money coming out of our pockets. We all pay taxes. It's money that's coming out of our pockets that we're expecting to be recycled into our community to support. And that's the other thing is a lot of people don't really realize, you know, I think people understand this, right? schools are not revenue generating corporations. Schools are here to serve the community, serve the community through education, uplift the community through education. Through a school, there's so much that comes from that. There's, it's not just another graduating class. It's a doctor that's going to save a life.
Right.
It's a it could be an athlete that's going to win a Super Bowl. Who knows? It could be the next race car driver out there. It could be the next soldier.
Some type of influence, some level of influence.
Some level of influence is coming from that school, and it all recycles back into the community. So we have to do our best as ed tech providers to realize that that's what we're a part of. We're not a part of a corporation that's trying to reach $1 billion. We're part of a corporation that is trying to bring $1 billion level worth of value.
Right. I love that. And also, you hit a point, and I've done investigations for a long time, and as you mentioned, loss of devices, I think about disconnected systems, not recovering these devices. So, can you give an example how, like, disconnected systems create an operational pain, if they do? I'm not even sure.
So, a recent conversation that I've had with an actual potential buyer for SchoolBanks, and what they were telling us is just simply their financial system that was taking payments was not connected to their ticketing system. So let's say a student, lost their power adapter. They need a new power adapter, right?
Yeah.
That ticket goes into the ticketing system. There's no connectivity to say, hey, charge that student, for that power adapter. Now, we're not in the business of just solely charging students to charge students.
Right.
But again, these are taxpayer dollars that we're trying to recycle back into the community,
right?
Right. So if there's that disconnect, that means there's a manual effort that has to happen there. And that manual effort, sometimes it happens the way it's supposed to. A lot of school districts are very efficient. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does create a bottleneck because of the sheer volume. When you have a very low number of staff members that are serving a extremely high number of students and student issues that arise, there's going to be a bottleneck. There's going to be things that get missed. And there's an opportunity. That's the opportunity that we tap into now to not remove the person, the human body from that operation or that function, but to enhance that human body, that operation, that function.
So trying to look at almost like causing a marriage between the two, the operation side, but also the finance side when it comes to, knowing what assets are out there, but also knowing how to properly use stakeholders' money, tax money. And here again, not to just charge the student to charge the student, but it has to be accounted for. Do you feel like districts are really trying to go that direction?
Like, again, they're answering to the taxpayer, right? They don't have a choice. They don't have much of a choice. And if they don't, it's probably a situation, and I'm not pushing for any of this, but it's probably a situation where the superintendent doesn't last as long. But especially in places where you see superintendents that get it, they have school districts vying for them all the time because they understand that value that the school district itself is putting back into the community. So
right. And you mentioned there are a lot of systems out there, platforms that kind of districts are utilizing right now. Now you have your company, right? What makes SchoolBanks like naturally different? How's your approach different? What are your services like? Talk about some of that. Are y'all just another transaction company, or y'all more?
Well, I can tell you, we never even started out as a transaction company. The way we started was to help a friend. I mean, it was literally me seeing the challenges and the pain that the treasurer that I was a close friend with was going through, and me deciding, hey, I want to use my college degree, that you guys laughed at me about.
Right.
Still
laugh.
Don't laugh. Don't do that.
Wait, our boy Swan used to laugh like that.
Don't
So listen, so K Swan, we gonna send you a clip. I don't care. We gonna send it to him. He know that's how he laugh.
It's true, but
all right, whatever, Swan. Love y'all, man.
Anyway. See, now I lost my train.
That's okay. I asked you this.
All right. Go ahead.
So pretty much, are y'all just another transaction company? But you mentioned that's not how y'all started.
It's not even how we started.
Right.
So we really started with purpose, and I think that purpose really aligns with what the school districts are doing. Again, go back to that word, right? Purpose. So we started out, we aligned with purpose, and Then
Keep talking.
grew from
Y'all may
there.
hear some noise in the background. We are not going to edit this. This is my house. This is how it rolls.
That's how it rolls.
Sometimes people come in and out. We shoot a podcast. Come on in, Ash. Do what you got to do. We're shooting.
Right.
Don't matter. Just don't be too loud. Go ahead.
Yep. Anyway, so we started out with that purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and then we grew along the way, having better understanding, better insight to
Mm-hmm.
the type of operations, the necessity around the need to audit
Right.
transactions,
Right.
and we grew into that by learning along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't just start out with, hey, I want to make $1, so I'm going to make a solution that's going to guarantee I'm going to make
Right.
$1.
Right.
We started out with, how can we help you in what you're doing?
Right.
How can we assist you and make you more efficient
Right.
in your whatever office you're serving
Mm-hmm.
in, and grew from there.
So I like that, and that's what I love to hear again. Just kind of plug what we do here on this podcast. I stay mad on purpose. Like, we're intentionally trying to make a decision and make differences, right? Most, if not all, businesses started because somebody identified a problem, and they were one of the first people to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Garbage companies. I don't feel like taking my garbage out. I'll do it. Pay me, right?
Right.
So when you think about what you just shared, man, you had a friend you saw struggling. Dang, how can I solve this problem? And now years later, you got a whole company that was built from identifying an aspect of somebody's problem.
Right.
So y'all, I'm just kind of sharing that because drop in the comments here also, like, and don't share your whole idea, please. But have you started to look around on purpose? And if you have not, start doing it now. What problems are out there? And even if somebody's solving it right now, there's how many different bread companies on the bread aisle? It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And something's always missing from the bread aisle. That means people have their preference. So start what you know is on your heart to start. Identify these problems. Go solve it. Be careful who you share it with so nobody
They can
discourages
share
you.
with me because I'll help them get it started.
And he actually would.
Yeah, they can.
You know,
DM
sign
me
some
on-
NDAs.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But yeah, definitely on like LinkedIn, they can DM me. I'll help them get started. I don't
Yeah.
mind.
And that's the selfless part of him. And even how you intro this. Because you said you feel like you're the person behind to help empower companies, right? Your boy got a good memory. See, I remember that all the way from the beginning of the interview. It's my skills, boy.
Probably
That's
have
my
a
skills.
playbook
I do
right
not.
there, so
That's this.
whatever.
But anyways, but that's legit because if we can help this many people to go do their thing and we keep repeating that process, that's another company.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like that's part of what God wants us to do.
You remember the name Alex Miranda?
Yeah, I remember Alex. He was our kicker in high school.
Exactly, right. So
Yeah.
He is a very successful entrepreneur
Uh-huh.
that happens to be a Christian. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And I remember I was actually taking a class of his, and in the class he mentioned something that God really put on his heart, that if you want to make $1 million, go solve a problem for 1 million people. And that was like a very humbling statement. It wasn't really about, hey, you can only charge $1 for what you do, but it was really about refocus what you're doing. Don't pay attention to that dollar. Pay attention to actually helping people, serving people, and your actual purpose. The dollar will come.
All right, so listen, like what you said, we kind of talked about how it got started, right?
Mm-hmm.
So important. I heard when you say Alex Miranda say help million people, do their
Right.
thing. I feel like if you help somebody make their first millions, you definitely, you know what I mean? It's just like you help. Miles Monroe always said, serve the world your gift. Don't be so quick to try to charge somebody when you have now discovered your gift. You started the development phase. You might even be deployed into it, right?
Right.
Don't be so quick to try to charge because this is still the development, the training, the breeding ground. And yes, at some point charge, but serve the world your gift, because when you get in alignment with God, like this is what we even talked about before. Y'all, the Zone, this Disney cartoon, what was it called? Soul? The guy that was playing the piano? I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah.
Boy, that movie there got so many life lessons behind it. It's crazy. But when you get in this alignment, it's kind of like we said, you lose track of time. You forget to eat, but you don't feel like you did not eat. You're not even hungry because your body is feeding on the source of all life, which is God. To get in alignment with God in business, in life, in relationships, in every aspect, because if the Bible be true, and I wholeheartedly feel like it is, God is the answer to everything.
Yeah.
And if God lives inside of me and you, then everywhere I step my feet, the answer showed up. And that's how you got to start walking and living this thing out, is knowing, here I go again, get emotional, is knowing that you are so connected to the source of creation, God Almighty, Jesus Christ, to where y'all you're loaded with information, you're loaded with skills, gifts, and abilities. But when are you gonna believe it? This is the one we talking about that in the book Isaiah says, I've laid the earth's foundations, my right hand has laid out all of the heavens, stretching from far as we can see. And he says, when I speak, they stand. To attention, like, yes, this is the one who wants to partner with you. This is the one who put ideas in you, ideas in you. This is the one who has put your life's assignment so deep within you that when you start seeking him out, guess what's right next to him? It's your life's assignment. Like, so when you make this intentional step to say, I want to not just personal develop, Lord, what am I on earth to do? You know, what am I here for? All right, I'm here to be on the background and empower other companies, and I'm still going to see success in my areas. But guess what? It is more important, this is what I'm hearing from you, for me to make sure others are thriving, right? Because I feel like my family's going to be taken care of in the process no matter what. I got a saying, everything always works out for us. I say it all the time.
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes people find a challenge with seeing it in that way because a lot of people, most people, are doing it as an employee on someone else's job. They pay attention to the fact that they're making someone else rich. I get it, you might be, but there's also other things that could be happening. And you know, when I say like, yeah, I'm here to actually empower other organizations, so I spend a lot of time as an employee. That's really is I mean, a bulk of my life has been I was an employee, and even being an owner of a company, I still work for everybody. I work for all the customers because they're not going to be a customer if I am not serving their needs. Right. So I'm working in a sense to still empower them. So even as an employee, if you know, sometimes I think people find themselves in that zone. We call it, you know, kind of being in the zone, and you're not worried about what did you eat, what did you drink, because you're flowing in that zone. And then they kind of snap out of it and like, oh, I'm not doing that. This is you know, somebody else's company. I'm not gonna go all out for that. It's not about going all out for that. Now you just stop feeding yourself because you were operating in that zone. You were connected with God in that way. And then you stopped to now feed yourself. You probably find yourself in that moment, man, I'm hungry. Man, I'm tired. Man, my legs hurt. My back hurt because I didn't stand up yet. But if you stay in that zone, you can have 13, 14, 15-hour work days where you don't eat, don't drink. And like you said, I'm still fed. I still feel hydrated. Because I stayed in that zone.
Yeah, and getting there is beautiful, and it's something that I long for to get back to. It happened for me. Like, I can testify to that. Like, when we came out with the Shield Vision, I know you were part of our development for that. And but there were days, y'all, I learned how to sew in a dream. My mama, she's a seamstress. She tried to teach me how to sew, and I broke a sewing machine or two. But I came home and laid down and went to sleep, and I saw how it worked from the inside out in the dream, and started sewing the next day, at least for our product. And there were days I worked for hours, never ate, didn't think about it. And then there were times that I started to forget about my devotion time with Almighty God, and everything was going crazy. But then when I got back to the focus, because I wanted to stay in alignment, I would spend more time with God. And then it doesn't make sense, because the sewing needle and the sewing machine can only go so fast. I would get almost 8 hours worth of work done in like 4 hours. No error. No having to start over. None of this, none of that. Yeah, that's how important the zone is with God. That's how important it is to get in alignment with God. That's how important it is to even at these jobs. Y'all, and I haven't made it, whatever made it is. I'm still on the way. I still share authentically and actively how I'm still trying to get there, right? We still work these 9 to 5s. We don't want to say one video. But guess what? What am I learning along the way? And this is a nugget for everybody out there still there, and you may not want to be. What skills are you learning? Like, I was in law enforcement so long, and that wasn't the career I wanted. I didn't want to get into policing. Ended up watching Bad Boys one too many times. I'm like, I'm going to go do that. Real story, bro. Had an amazing career. I learned so much. Now, what's funny is this. I was never a talker. Like, I couldn't talk publicly. I couldn't read in front of the class. I dropped my first college course because they said we had to do a public speaking project, and I dropped it. It was a communications class. At home, I would talk to my family. But outside of the family, I wasn't Mr. So God put me in this career where it forced me to speak, forced me to converse, have command presence, be confident what I'm saying and or doing, right? And lo and behold, this is what I do now. You know, I can go talk in front of a crowd, thousands and thousands of people, and I just don't get nervous. And I don't need to write stuff down because the way it happens for me, because that's the zone. But without him putting me in law enforcement, this 9 to 5, I would not have been able to work on that skill every day.
Yeah.
Just because you're gifted from God does not mean you don't work on the craft to get better. Right?
Yeah.
You have to still work on this thing. And it's so important that's like stewardship. Thank you, Lord. You gave me, let's say he gave you $2 million. You got to manage the money, right?
Right.
But you got to be the person who can manage the money.
Yeah.
You know, become the person who can do this thing. We're going to get back to the company. I just wanted people to understand this. It's so important to work on that skill while you're at the job, because that skill can be the very thing that you use. Last thing, I worked in internal affairs for a long time for workplace complaints. But my life coach company, I work on internal affairs for people. It's crazy. Go ahead, though.
You remember the one thing I said I would never be when we were in college?
School teacher, right?
Exactly. I said, I swore I would never, ever be a school teacher.
Yeah.
I'll do anything else. I'll be a janitor at Burger King. I would not be a school teacher. Guess what the first job was?
Right out the gate.
I was a school teacher.
Yeah, man. I remember
to
that.
your point, it put me in a position, because I wasn't really a talker either, to want to talk in front of people and all those things. But I was in front of the most witty set of students that you ever want to be in front of. And I had to be quick on my feet with my responses. I had to be timely. It put me in a space that I had to learn to communicate immediately.
In Romans, the book of Romans, you say everything happens for a reason, right?
Everything happens for that reason.
You met the person who had the problem who helped SchoolBanks start now.
Exactly. That part too.
So when you think you off track, fam, God is in control, man.
Yeah.
Even when you royally messed it up.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the guy and he knows I can royally mess something up. I have for a long time. But everything always works out for me.
Sure does.
And everything always works out for you as a believer, as a child of God. And even if you're on the fence, the cusp, like you just don't know yet, trust him. What's the options, though? What's the alternative not to trust God? Try to do life by yourself? Good luck. I'm good with that now.
Yeah.
I don't want no aspect of that.
Right. I mean, you say what's the alternative?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the alternative? I don't even know, but because I don't see an alternative. Right. Like I really don't. And I know
it's like going to play a football game without the helmet.
You know, yeah.
That makes no sense.
That's the alternative. That's exactly makes no sense.
Absolute concussion.
And no disrespect to people who play rugby, but I'm talking about everybody else has a helmet on, and you decide you're not going to wear a helmet, and you're still going to play a game of football. Yeah, that doesn't check out.
Right. That's my fault. We didn't divert it a little bit. We gonna tell back. Good. I heard you say something, and this to me it shows your heart for people. SchoolBanks is not about just charging a student just to charge a student, right? So it sounds like you care about families in hardship situations, and So just want to ask you this. This is to kind of bring it down to, I guess, a level of understanding even the stakeholders and people that are part of these districts and schools, and what stands out the most when you try to focus on families in the hardship situations, and you own a company that's
right,
making sure you charge folks.
Yeah. So, your software, your solution has functionality, but that functionality does not serve the purpose, right? What do I mean by that? Well, in a school district, they have to recognize, yes, this person was charged for whatever, but there's a situation going on. There was a parent that's sick. There's, someone that passed away. There's some situation that has occurred that, yes, this application has this functionality, but this application also needs to be flexible enough to allow the school district to operate the way they need to operate. Again, the school district is not a corporation that is trying to make $1 billion. A school district is a corporation that is trying to put $1 billion worth of resources back into the community in the form of graduates, in the form of financial resources, recycling back into the community, hiring small businesses to do work. The school districts hire a lot of small businesses. Right. So as a software ed tech provider, ed tech solution provider, you have to maybe rethink these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about just the functionality, the capabilities of your solution, but how well are you aligning with the way the school district needs to operate
Right.
to support it, the community.
Right. I like that because it's funny where I work at now. I sit close to the head person that's over like the accounting, finance, whatever, all the purchases. I don't know what it's called. Chief financial officer. I guess.
Yes, CFO.
Y'all, listen. I came from a different background. Okay. But I hear that because when I hear and see what's going on operationally, the way I look at things is like this. You got a district or you got these educational districts, right? That's trying to produce the best product they can, not only to go into the students, but to put them into the community to be the best product. And I'm not trying to minimize people or property. But if God views us as products and He made us to do something, like we're on a shelf, we all have a shelf life, we all have a thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more I can find out to help you become the best product possible, then I just help the community. I just serve the community. And by hearing you say school districts not really the corporation type that's trying to make money, they're trying to get the best resources possible, correct me if I'm wrong, to produce the best products, to get the best products to pour into their clientele, which is the students. Like I do trainings for HR and certain things, and I say, stop looking at students as students. Because some people look at themselves, I'm the adult, they're supposed to listen to me. That's the client. You be the professional. You be the business, because if a business is not professional and doesn't have a high level of customer service, you lose customers and you go out of business. And I tell people all the time, these are clients. And if you look at these as clients and who you're supposed to serve and stop looking at them as just kids, as a business standpoint, then you should operate different. Now, still have the human component.
Yeah.
Humans, I love them, care about them, all that. But you need to really look at this thing like a business and business minded. And I look at it from here again in personnel, workplace, misconduct stuff. I'm trying to get them to think different. But as you just mentioned, what the school district purpose is, it's not for them to make money.
No.
It's to produce the best student, the best product to put out there in the community for our next leaders.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I love that aspect.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking,
Yeah.
for just where you're going with that. So, I remember talking to a couple people in school districts, and I was even curious as to some things they said.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of them mentioned, we may charge a student and the parent may make a partial payment. Well, previously in our system, once a payment went in, that item was locked. No one can edit it. But they made a compelling argument that sometimes we just need to have a heart for that child, that student, that parent. And even if they make a partial payment, I need to be able to go in and edit it to show that it's now fully paid. Initially, when I heard that, I was like, well, you're breaking the system. That's not the way the system is supposed to work. And I had to rethink that. I had to undo the technological programming that went into it and understand the compassion that needed to be able to happen. So hence, again, flexibility that was needed in the solution, and still couple that with the level of accountability that they require to go along with that flexibility.
Right. So, and I like to hear you say that, because talk about flexibility, new age of AI, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about potential future visions. So you are where you are right now at SchoolBanks. You're getting into districts. You're communicating with school leaders and whatnot. How does AI fit and automation really fit into school operations? But also, as you think about the operations, how you're trying to get them to really communicate better with the finance. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. So AI is not going to come into the school system in the same way it's being rolled out in the corporate world. In the corporate world, people are being laid off because of AI coming in and literally taking over jobs or reducing manual labor. Now, should AI reduce manual labor? Yeah. In a school district, I'm sure there are tons of opportunity to, reduce manual efforts. But the real goal is to accelerate and enhance the people that you have there. In classrooms, do they have robots that can teach classrooms? Yes. Will the students respond? Maybe not. We don't know that yet. All I do know is that there's still a ton of teachers out there. There's still a ton of teachers that get nothing but love and adoration from past students. And it's not just about them being taught 1 + 1 = 2. It was about the experience that that teacher brought. So when I think about AI coming into the school district, I think it has to have even a heightened level of maturity. Yes, there's technical solutions that AI can come in and enhance different things. Maybe it helps figure out a truant student before that student is now a truant student, right? Maybe it helps to bridge the gap in some areas of education. Maybe it helps to unlock some new way of training a student or teaching a student. It should unlock, it should unveil, it should help to open. But I don't see it being successful coming into a situation that is meant to empower a community around it by hurting the community.
Okay. So with that being said, then what do you think districts are expecting? You got AI automation going on. You got your company. So even if you don't just talk about your company per se for this, what do you think districts are expecting now from a company that does what yours does, but also considering this AI automation
AI on top of it, right? So the functionality needs to be there. I think they expect the acceleration that AI can bring, but they don't want to lose the human oversight. That's one of the key pieces. There's not losing that human oversight and the traceability, the auditability. You cannot lose those things. AI should not come in and create chaos, if you will. It should actually come in and be a layer on top of something that's successful.
Okay. So what's the bigger vision for SchoolBanks? If you had to kind of present that to the people, everybody watching, how do you capture that? How do you present it to folks?
I honestly, I don't think it's a bigger vision, but it's really rolling out the original vision. The original vision was really to help people. That's the original vision. It's a technology, so yes, we have to have capabilities. We have to be able to do all the ones and zeros and X's and O's. We have to be able to do all those different things. But my desire in running this business, running this corporation, is how am I helping people, and how am I seeing the totality of it all? Do I truly understand? Like I said, school districts are not corporations that are revenue driven. They are corporations that are driven to supply ample resources, return resources is what I should say, right? And how are you functioning in that? So it's to me, it's not like a vision I'm striving to. It's continuing to let's say double down on the original vision, which is continuing to help people.
Okay. And I hear that, and I just, as I think about kind of our conversation today and put it in maybe different terms, to me it sounds like it could be operational chaos with the number of schools within a district that have to be managed. And you think about maybe countless number of spreadsheets that people are doing differently, and then just the clarity or even transparency when it comes to working these systems and making them speak, and then just unifying. It seems like you're trying to unify finance and operations, right? That's kind of what I've been hearing through this conversation today. Is that kind of making sense when it comes to SchoolBanks?
It does, and I'll tell you, it's almost a little pet peeve of mine that even in my corporate IT days, if we purchase a solution to do a job, and then I hear someone saying, "Oh, I just exported everything and I built a spreadsheet to do my job," I'm like, why? Why do we spend $1 million for you to go and put it in a spreadsheet? Nothing wrong with the spreadsheet makers, but here's a challenge, right? Honestly, spreadsheets have been doing work for decades. It's not going to stop unless we think differently as solution providers. And again, we can't check boxes. We can't just meet requirements. We have to understand what they are trying to operationally solve, what needs to happen, what flexibility needs to be there. And I'll say, like I said, it's pet peeve of mine, but when I hear our current customers, if I hear someone has exported something to a spreadsheet, I'm trying to understand exactly what pushed them to say, I need to export this to do my job. And I promise you, it's in our roadmap to make sure they don't have to do that again.
I like that. I like that. Listen, and we coming getting close to wrap up. So this is one of my last questions for you, right?
Mhm.
As you think about and y'all, I'm a living witness. I worked for a district, and it seems like operational chaos at times, and it's normal.
Mhm.
And I don't like that because I'm coming from policing, policy, procedures, black and white. Do this,
Right,
or, you
right.
know what I mean. So it just sounds like chaos, and it's been accepted too long. But if you can think about maybe one or two things that the district should absolutely right now stop tolerating, from whether it be systems being disconnected, loss of assets, no transparency, weak auditing systems, or manual reconciliation. Like, if you can pick something, what would that be that they need to stop tolerating today?
Yeah. So I would the one thing I would pick is the systems being disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because number one, I think school districts should have the flexibility to use various solutions that empowers our small world of small business. There's a lot of startups out there. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there.
Mm-hmm.
By solutions being flexible enough to work with any other solution, it it allows the operational flow to be more smooth and creates less chaos. So there's it's not a regulatory compliance, but there's an accepted um, uh, what do you call it, like API. It's called One Roster,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's an accepted practice. It's a highly accepted practice. You can get your application certified on this One Roster. I think it's 1.2 that they've deployed now, and what that does is unify the way solutions communicate. So if you're making a solution and you don't necessarily adhere to that, I think you are adding to the chaos as opposed to helping to streamline and helping to bring some smoothness.
Internal chaos.
Yeah, an internal chaos, exactly. And here's the other thing too, right? If you remove, and this is probably a little political here, but if you remove all of the testing requirements and all of the state exams and all these different requirements, you'd have a lot of teachers freely educating the next generation of leaders and doctors and lawyers and
I hear that.
presidents and things like that in a way that it used to happen.
I
Right?
hear that
You,
complaint.
you hear it a lot.
I hear
You
that
hear
word.
it. And so here's the thing. So now we have all those things, but you still have that heart and soul to do it in a way that really touches the heart and soul of the people they're doing it for, of the students they're doing it for. So it's going to naturally create some chaos because you have that. I remember my days in the classroom. So I had, in one class, I had 3 different classes. I had a networking class, I had what was called a digital design class, and I had a yearbook class, all in one class.
That's crazy.
It was crazy, right? So you know what I did? I said, hey, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm long removed from the classroom. I said, you know what? Forget all the regulations and all the stuff I had to follow. I remember telling my lead teacher, I was like, I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I turned my classroom into a business. So the networking team, they were responsible, or network students, they were responsible for building a network that the other students had to now use. So I had the digital design students, they are actually charged out to go and find a client that they could build a website for. That was part of their world. The yearbook staff were the people who were editing the pages that go on the website. So the digital design folks built the websites. The yearbook folks, they did their editing work for what went into the websites. And then the network class, they built the back office hosting that we did internally.
Yeah.
I made a smooth flowing company
You connected
within
systems together.
And I remember the principal walking in one day, and he was like, David, this looks like chaos. I said, I know, but go ask every student what they're doing. And he did. And every student told the principal verbatim what their job was on that day. And all he could say was, David, you're doing a great job when he left.
Right.
It wasn't, I didn't align with the state
Right.
standards and all those things. Now, great. Now, thankfully, all my students graduated. They all met their requirements. But again, that was my heart, was really, what can I do for them? I didn't care about what the states and all those things. And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm saying it anyway.
It is what it is.
I just, at that moment, I was in my young 20s. Hey, I didn't care about that stuff. What I cared about is, what am I going to leave these kids with? And the crazy thing is, I'm still friends with some of those kids on social media. And seeing their success they talk to me and still call me Mr. Greene. Like, I'm like, hey guys, we're like almost the same age. Most of you guys are like 3 years younger than me
right?
when I was your teacher. Stop calling me Mr. Greene.
Man.
But like, I'm still friends with some of them, and I'm seeing their success in life
Right.
today. You know.
Man, I love that, and I think it's a perfect segment to wrap up.
Okay.
The biggest thing school systems need to stop is disconnected systems.
Yes.
And you just explained how you connected systems in a classroom that could appear to be chaos. And let's tie it in spiritually, y'all. I'm sorry, I got to take it there.
Take it.
When you're disconnected from the source, it causes internal chaos.
Yes.
And you don't know how to function.
Yeah.
God loves community. He loves family. He wants us to connect on a personal level, not just with Him, but with each other. And when we learn what our gifts are, when you learn what your thing is, you can partner with somebody who you just seamlessly mesh with to do the thing and accomplish the thing that God put you on this planet to do. Like what you did with that class, identifying the role of each person, connecting them together to where they leaned on each other to make sure they're successful. So I'm doing my thing, and this is my thing, and it's going to benefit you, and vice versa. Y'all, that's what part of life is about.
Yeah.
Is to identifying your thing, staying connected to the source of all creation, the one we call the Father, and doing your thing on this planet and serving the planet and the people that live here your very best. I hear Myron Golden say this, and I'm going to kind of wrap it up and leave it. But he says, God has given you all these abilities, and it is your life's assignment to respond to the problems on earth with your God-given ability. That is your what? Responsibility. Thank you for watching I Stay Mad on Purpose. It's my boy D. Greene, owner of SchoolBanks. Before we go, tell them how to find you, social media, all that stuff. What?
So our website, schoolbanks.com, banks with an S at the end. And then, of course, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm about to say Linked Up. That's my church. So
Right.
I'm on
Shout out
LinkedIn.
Linked Up.
Shout out to
Good
Linked Up
church.
Pastor Gregory. Pastor Gregory and Trish. Stop that. You're going to have to edit that part because I don't want to mess up.
It's okay. Pastor Gregory and Church.
That's his name.
Yeah. Linked Up Church, Smyrna,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Where's Smyrna? Powder Springs?
Powder Springs.
Yeah, Georgia.
Yep.
Good,
All right.
good
Very
folk.
good church. Yep. Yeah, you can find me there on LinkedIn. You can also find me on my website, D Greene Jr. Greene Greene Jr.com. But definitely visit us on schoolbanks.com.
And you mentioned earlier in the show, if somebody does have an idea,
Yes.
reach out, y'all, for real.
DM me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Excuse me, LinkedIn. I keep saying LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, please DM me on LinkedIn. I will respond. I love helping people get businesses off the ground. And it's just something I like to do.
Yeah. Well, y'all, that's our time. Like, share, and subscribe, man. I Stay Mad on Purpose, and I hope you do. This is all sponsored by Activate. What we tell you to get active, stay active, and live active, man. Everything you do it for the glory of God Almighty. It's your boy, Miss I Stay Mad. We are out.
Peace.
I'm on my prime, I'm feeling like Steph. I get my shot and I promise it's wet. Waited too long, but I told him I'm next. I need my bag, just run me the check. Cable was mine, I ain't taking less. I told them all I'm as real as it gets. Shit being shit, dog, I'm cutting the net. I thought I told him I came for my spot.